What's up, y'all? What's up? What's up? It is Thursday, the 10th of April. We are just 2 days away from a super powerful UFC 314. Definitely the best card of the year so far, 2025, but multiple more cards to go, so we will see. Um, but I'm going to get right to the meat and potatoes, the straight meat and potatoes of the story. I absolutely love, am inspired by, look up to, um, will follow even when his career is over, Alexander the Great. Um, he's just achieved so much, but, with his professional career, amazing. But who the man is, or who, we know of him to be, he's an amazing cat. I'm talking about good dad, great teammate. Um, he sacrifices a lot and he gives us his all. All right, enough of that, but I do love the guy. I thought we'd get into this card with a little bit of honorable mentions with some of the undercard because I'm going to say every fight on the main card is going to be a banger. Um, there are a couple I wanted to mention because we've got like Jim Miller and Dan Ige. These are some dudes that have been around a hot minute. I mean, if we're talking about Jim Miller, he's 41 years old, and normally it's heavyweights that are able to continue their run for either a title or their contract limit. Heavyweights are a little more, I don't want to say durable, but as far as like father time creeping in because your power is one of the last things to go, usually it's a heavyweight that's in his 40s chasing some dreams, some aspirations. But Jim is doing it, and he is a lightweight. So, and I'm not saying that like he's a lightweight. I'm just saying he fights at lightweight. Um, but there is a couple. So let's start. Let's start with Jim. Jim Miller, Chase Hooper. Um, the odds are kind of crazy, and it's because of Mr. Miller's past few performances, I'm sure. And he's facing Chase, and Chase is, I mean, I will say young buck compared. uh, let me click on his little bio real quick. All right, 4 wins by knockouts, 8 wins by submission, 6 first round finishes. He's 15-3. Um, the dream, as he's known as, I really feel like, because I'm an old school UFC fan. I'm talking about back in the day. And so I really like to represent and show respect to the older, the forefathers of the sport, if you will. But I really believe Chase Hooper is going to take this. And it's probably, any fight has the ability to go the distance because it's a fight. And you know what I say about the fight game? There's no guarantee, except that there's no guarantee. But I do believe Hooper's going to get that done for sure. Skis. And then we've got, I'm gonna butcher these names, but it's I believe it's the first girl fight on the prelims, and we're not talking the early pre's, we're talking the middle prelims, if you will. I don't know what that would, what you would actually term that. She is, man, I want to say Yan. It's the crazy, badass, sweet. She looks like a sweet person, but she's a straight killer. Yan, Xiaona. Xiaonan. I don't even know. No disrespect, because she's a badass. She's also ranked number 1 in her weight class. She's a strawweight woman fighter. I've been going through and doing a little research on some of the other picks, some of the bigger MMA channels. Like shout out to the Weasel. Love that guy's breakdowns. Verona, Jandibraya or whatever. A lot of people have picked her to win. I don't know. Ever since I saw the young lady from China, I'm not even going to try her name anymore, get choked out, come back, and I mean, because the ref didn't catch it, like she has a place in my heart because she is do or die. She has accepted you may die in there, and that's okay. I'm gonna pick her. I'm gonna pick her. I think she's the one. I'm gonna go ahead and dip into the Ige Sean Woodson fight. Sean Woodson's another one that's been around for a long time. Ige as well. I mean, Ige's been around, man. Multiple different fight venues and things. He's ranked number 15. Sean Woodson's not even in the rankings right now. Man, I will say there is a little bit of a size discrepancy. I really like Dan Ige. Sean Woodson's I like his octagon presence a lot. Both of them have a pretty legit fight IQ, at least for their styles. Oh, no. I'm going to go Dan Ige, because I'm feeling that way, and that might be an emotional kind of pick, if you will. And then one more thing, one honorable mention, because these are on the early prelims, and it's this Tresean Gore and Marco Tulio, I believe is how you say it. He's a Brazilian dude. Man, I really like Tresean. I like his demeanor. He's going in there to destroy. I love all that. But I was talking about fight IQ before, and Mr. Gore is an amazing athlete. He can definitely get it done. But I just feel like this Marco dude, let me click on him real quick. 13-1, 9 fight win streak, 9 wins by knockout, 7 first round finishes. I've got a strong feeling with him due to his, not just his fight style, but his amount of time in the game. If I go to Tresean here and click his bio, this is the difference. And it's time in the game. And I know sometimes that can be a dual-edged sword because of the amount of injuries and stuff. And he hasn't been around as long. He's 6-2, 2 wins by knockout, 3 wins by submission. This is the story with this guy. 3 first-round finishes. He comes out like a straight high-speed killer, and he's got mad power in his hands. But to sum it up, I really think it's going to be the Brazilian gentleman. Let me close this, go back to that guy so I don't, Marco Tulio. I don't know if I'm saying that correctly in Portuguese. I feel like if Marco gets out of that first round and kind of figures out a little bit of the footwork, is able to record some of the fight possibilities, movements, setups, I feel like Marco is going to get this done. Probably second round, maybe middle of the third. Man, but if it goes to decision, because of the judges, you just never know. Because damage is a thing as far as the scorecards go. And I feel like Gore, because of his power and his tenacity, it may score higher if it does go to the judges' scorecards. But, I really got some faith in this Marco guy. There's a couple on there, but I don't want to get too much into that because I'm going to go ahead and make this kind of quick because, I'm working on a time crunch. If you viewed any of my other videos, the rest of the family doesn't really like to be on camera, if you will, and the wife is slated to be home soon, so I'm trying to sum this up. All right, let's get right into the main card. All right, the first card on the main card, or first fight, on the main card is Nikita Krylov. I think I said that pretty good. And Dominic Reyes. Nikita is ranked number 8. Reyes is number 11. Russia is the Nikita guy. Go figure, right, with that name. Krylov. If you're a fan of the sport, if you've been watching it for a while, And you know who John Jones is. Dominic Reyes and John Jones had a fight. Um, a lot of people, including myself, had big skeptical because that fight went to decision. And I mean, just depending on how you score that fight, and if you know anything about John Jones, you know, a lot of people believe him to be the best fighter ever. And he is definitely in the running for, as they say, the GOAT, the greatest of all time. Um, you know, strength of record, all that kind of stuff. Demetrius Johnson's up there. I just feel like Dominic kind of got broken mentally because he felt he won. Many people did, and that got taken away from him. And I felt like the couple fights after that, he had to kind of redefine himself and shake off that loss, questionable loss. But I think he's back. He's left hand dominant, left kick dominant, and he is super active. He's a 205er, so we're talking light heavyweight, but he moves super fluid, real dangerous. I like how he sets up his shots. He doesn't just throw the power, he creates an opening. And I feel like since he's kind of found himself again, as far as a fighter, what defines him, uh, I think he's got this one in the bag. So not 100% emotional, but I do share some type of emotion with this guy's backstory, and I want to see him do well because I know he's capable. What he did in that John Jones fight, not how many people were able to do that through the career of John Jones. I'm just saying the guy still has mad potential. Title run, oh, I mean, we'll see by his performance, but I've got a good feeling about Dominic Reyes. So Dominic Reyes, light heavyweight, first fight on the prelim. I think he's going to get her done. All right, the next fight is super interesting for many, many reasons. For one, you have John Silva, the Fighting Nerd. He's a part of the Fighting Nerd team, and I love that team. I have been watching their coach talk about his fundamentals and, you know, how he uses the fighting styles of animals to try to compare that to the fighting style of different fighters. And he literally, you know, will watch like National Geographic and how animals attack and survive and be defensive and offensive and kind of apply that to the fight game. And I love that little bit of crazy turn because he talks about how some fighters, if they're smaller, maybe they're, and this is just an example, I don't remember exactly what he said, but let's say their jab is not as powerful because their arms are not as long, so they're real good with an inside style clinch dirty boxing. But what he does is he takes what the fighter is good at and he hones the game solely around their gifts. You know what I mean? And I really dig that because if you try to get a fighter out of their comfort zone, it is possible for sure to teach, you know, old dogs new tricks, if you will. But if you can just turn up the volume to 11 on what you really shine at, and then you create openings to allow that to be used in the fight, you could be super successful. He is not ranked yet, it appears, on the website of the UFC, but Bryce Mitchell is who he's fighting. And this is where some of that controversy comes in. I'm not going to get into any of the stuff that he said, but Bryce Mitchell has, you know, gained in popularity because with all this, you know, all whatever you want to call that, press aside, Bryce Mitchell can fight. This mofo can bang. And as we know, he can get it done. He's tough as nails. And I mean tough, bro. His jiu-jitsu is slick. It's good. It's technically sound. His striking's not horrible. But I feel like that's going to be his Achilles heel, if you will, against Mr. Silva. Silva, for his size, this is a featherweight fight. We're looking at 145ers. Oh, yeah, you know what? I was going to bring this up. If you click on, so featherweight to weigh in, it's 145. You get a pound leeway if it's not a, you know, a championship fight. But if you click on these windows here, it will show, I guess, maybe this is their current weight. Because as of this, it shows their height and weight, but it says Bryce Mitchell is 157 pounds. and Silva is 160.70. But they're featherweight fighters. So are they just saying, like, is that what they weigh the day of the fight? Is that their walk around weight? I probably should have done some research. I just never noticed that before. And is that something new? All right. I'm gonna get to it again. It's gonna be, damn man. With all the Bryce Mitchell stuff aside, I like how he represents himself because he says what's on his heart, and I want him to win. I do. I like, the person aside of it, but the athlete that is Bryce Mitchell. I like how he gets stuff done. I like his mentality on that level. No comment on the stuff he said on the podcast because I ain't with that shit. But he's a young guy, man, and people gonna make mistakes. And I'm not sure, but he may walk back what he said, and we make mistakes. It's whatever. But I think Mr. Silva's gonna get this done. And I kind of have this weird psychic connection. I keep on seeing visions of Bryce Mitchell getting touched to the face and, maybe a flash TKO kind of possibility. And then him, because of his toughness, regaining his, faculties again, and then looking like the tide is turning, and then Silva catches him again. But instead of a face shot, a head shot, Silva sets up a body shot. And I think due to Bryce's toughness, he's difficult to finish in that way. And his jiu-jitsu, offensive and defensive, is really, really good. And there may be scrambles on the ground. I can almost guarantee a scramble or two, a potential submission and escape. But I feel like Silva's going to basically set up a body shot that shuts him down. And then as Silva swarms and starts, looking for the finish, the referee's going to pull him off. And that's probably, man, that could happen. That could happen as soon as the first round. But I feel like due to Bryce's toughness, this is going to get to the second, late in the second, early in the third. But I think it's going to be Silva. I want Bryce to win. All right. But that is what it is. All right. Next fight. Yair Rodriguez and Patricky Pitbull. Pitbull is like, if all you follow is the UFC, you don't know much about him. But he is a two-weight champion in another organization. And he's good. He's freaking good. But Yair Rodriguez is like I don't know. You know how I have termed the fight game is like a canvas, and these fighters are legit artists. Yair is one of those true artists. The way he sets up shots, his creativity, his ability to read his opponent and then apply something artistic to it. So it's not just a barrage of just shots and he's hoping one to land. He doesn't fight like that. Man, his mental game is top tier, and I have been watching him train. Just his body right now, and because as he's getting older, the muscles getting denser. I feel like his fight IQ has even raised a couple numbers. Yair's ranked number 5, and Patricky's not ranked yet because he's coming over from a different organization. But he legit could be ranked possibly above Yair or just underneath him if he was in the rankings. He just hasn't had a fight yet to prove that. But I think this is going to be a good one. But I really believe that Yair is going to get this done. This is another 145. Lots of 145s on here. But watch this. 145 featherweight weight class. I'm going to click on this again. And then look at here. It says, here's the other thing. Patricky Pitbull is 5'6". Yair Rodriguez is 5'11". And he has amazing kicks and strikes. And he's real good at when he's landing power shots or setting up power shots. Even if it's a jab, he keeps you right at the end. So you receive the snap of whether it be, the top of his foot or the back of his hand. And his elbows are sick as well. But yeah, there's a huge discrepancy in reach here. And it says it's only 71 inches versus 65.5. But when you see these guys, there is a huge discrepancy in their size. Yair gets it done. And man, Yair could get this done in the very first round because that's who he is. You know what I mean? This is Mexico versus Brazil. Saúde. Mata Leon. Putazos afuera. Let's go. All right. Now we're into some of the main card stuff. We in the thick of it. This one has been a little difficult for me. This is the Michael Chandler Paddy Pimblett fight. I like both these guys, and I like them for separate reasons. Paddy's ranked number 12. He's been making his way up. A lot of people thought he couldn't even fight before. Like, who is this kid? And then Michael Chandler is ranked number 7. This is like, for lack of a better term, this is like changing of the guard. Michael Chandler has to win this fight if he wants to make a run for the belt at all. And I think that has to do with his amassed injuries and all kinds of things, his age. He is peaking as far as a fighter goes in age. He is peaking with his knowledge, all these things. But if he has to start over again with 2 or 3 more fights to start to get a true opportunity at the belt, or to start fighting the top, ranked fighters again, because he has gotten there and then kind of dropped, and then gotten there and kind of dropped. This is his moment. And Paddy, if you don't know much, he has come a long way. He is uber dangerous. Not that he wasn't dangerous before, but he now has way better striking. Cardio's pretty good. I will say that Chandler's going to test that, because Chandler, here, I'll go ahead and say this. Chandler's super entertaining, electric in his fights. He's had a couple, like with Dan Hooker, where he became less of that juggernaut and more of a technical fighter. And I feel like that's what he needs to do to get this done. Sometimes, though, you will get hurt in a fight or feel like you've lost the last 2 rounds, and then you kind of retort back to the juggernaut because it serves you. And it's like, when an emergency happens, you always go back to what works for you. And he will literally just run at you throwing huge hooks, and it can work. And he's super strong, dynamic, athletic, all these things. But because we know he does that, Paddy's team has been preparing, and Paddy is slick. Chandler's a good wrestler. I feel like Paddy's better with the submissions, and that might be how this ends. I feel like also, because of all of the scrambles, from the striking to the takedown to Paddy attempting to submit, whether it be the end of the round or escapes are actually made, people are going to start getting tired. These 2 gentlemen are going to start getting tired. And if Chandler blows his wad, so to speak, too soon, he won't have the breath, the endurance, all the lactic acid's going to be built up, and Paddy's going to catch him. A possible submission. For some reason, I'm seeing an arm triangle. Even later in the rounds, when there's tons of sweat, I still believe Paddy could probably get that done. But there is hope. And because Michael realizes this is it, this is his next run at the title. If Michael is careful and Paddy is assuming he's going to come in and juggernaut him, but Michael doesn't do that. If Chandler uses that whole first round to download Paddy's style, and then go back to his coaches in the corner, and they're like, okay, now it's time to implement whatever it is they've been trying to do. They can even maybe set up a juggernaut situation to where it looks like Chandler's rushing in to get it done, but it's not. It's the change level for a takedown. And, I don't know. I don't know what their plan is. They kind of keep that stuff secret. But there is an opportunity for Chandler, and he needs to win. However, I think Paddy might get this done. Like I said, he's on a big run. He's been proving himself in his last few fights. I mean, what he did to Bobby Green in the last fight, damn, son. Because Bobby, a.k.a. used to be King Green, went back to Bobby because he hasn't won since he changed his name to King. I really love that dude. I love his style. I love his personality. I love the fact that he loves. And yeah, Paddy finished him quick. Like, I'm talking about strike to submission to Paddy switched it from, like, I can't remember, arm bar, turned it into like a triangle, and was still arm barring him, and then put him to sleep before the ref could even like no tap sleep. All right, here we are, y'all. The big one, the big fight. My hero, Mr. Alexander Volkanovski. Kind of similar. This is another 145 fight. Kind of similar to the Michael Chandler thing. I'm not saying that if Alex doesn't win this, he can't make another run at the title because of his toughness, because of his tenacity. He's ranked number 1. Diego Lopez is ranked number 3. This is Australia versus Brazil. Diego Lopez is amazing as well. I like his fighting style. I like the fact that he's able to use what looks like he uses his emotion to fuel his fire, which is normally a dangerous thing, but somehow he's able to work this into his toughness. He's able to stay pretty technical. But I have noticed in the last few outings with him that he has shown signs of exhaustion where he'll make mistakes because he's tired. And if we know anything about Alexander Volkanovski, I mean, sure, he gets tired. It's a fight. But he's able to recall more more information. I don't know what it is. He'll either back up, start being defensive for a minute, and then boom, it appears to be he's recharged again, or the breaks in between rounds, he comes out, I'm not saying looking fresh, but damn near fresh. The amount of power this little dude has, and I don't mean any disrespect by calling him little. I'll show you what I mean here, because the discrepancy in size, once again, 5'6" versus 5'11". But this Australian, this Alex the Great, he is a different 5'6". I mean, he's a featherweight. He's fighting at 145, and on here it says weighing 157, and Lopez is 160. But Volkanovski had a career in rugby where he was like 230 pounds, okay? And he wasn't like fat gross. He was like jacked. So his bone structure, his overall power, and just the amount of potential muscle mass there. And the fact that he is, what's his age right now? I think he's 36. That's his reach is 36. Is that for real? 36. Oh, that's leg reach. 36.41. Diego, definitely the younger fighter. Definitely on his come up. Alexander has been the champion before. He has proved himself more than once. And I believe the more dangerous fighter come Saturday night. Diego can definitely win. We've seen him do it. His, I don't even know what to call that fighting style. It is unique, and that's why I appreciate him. He's super creative. And as far as inspirational tattoos go, I love the one on his chest. I practice that same belief. I'm in there. But I don't know. I'll never pick against Alexander. And I wouldn't care who he's fighting against, because I believe he believes. And that belief, that confidence is such a big part of this game. And I even think Alex might get damaged to the point to where we get worried. This is a 5-round fight, championship rounds. And if this fight is, and I don't care what's happening on the judges' scorecards, after round 3, if we enter those championship rounds, I believe that Mr. Volkanovski is not just going to take over, he's going to dominate. I always watch their training there because I love Izzy. I love Alexander. I love watching. I have some weird connection to Australians. I love it. I kind of like their mentality. And I don't know if he's planning something different. I don't know exactly what's going on, because when you watch their training video, you kind of just see the run-of-the-mill training stuff. I know his shape looks some of the best I've ever seen. I was watching him get ready because this is going down in Florida, and they were training at, I can't remember if it was Kill Cliff or what it is. But they're several days away still from this this video I think was maybe 2 days ago, and today is Thursday. Weigh-ins tomorrow, but he is already so shredded, and I think they were saying something like he's below 10% body fat. So when it comes to weight cut, if you're not familiar with how that works, when you're in the last few hours of the weight cut, you're not trying to suck fat off your body. It's water, because there's a technique called water loading, and then you strip all the water off, but you have to take in water first, and then it's a salt trick. I won't get into the science of it. But he hasn't even done any of that yet, and he just looks super striated. So I feel like the weight cut's going to be an easy one for him, because instead of trying to pull weight off somewhere else, he's going to dehydrate the muscle and rehydrate the muscle. I don't like any of that. I think weight cuts are a freaking joke. Like, what are we doing? I've heard other commentators, including the great prophet Joe Rogan, talk about sanctioned cheating. I mean, it kind of is, but the other fighter is doing it too. I really hope we get to the day and age, though, when we're fighting at our walk-around weight. And I know several organizations do that already. I think it's just more healthier for the fighters. But all that said, because you probably don't care anyway, Volk is going to get this done. That's where all my energy is at. That is what's happening. Mr. Alexander Volkanovski is going to win. I hate when a fight goes to decision anyway. But both these guys are pretty tough. If Lopez gets uber tired somewhere around 3, 4, 5, I feel like there is going to be a finish. I'm hoping everyone's healthy, injury-free, because I feel like if one of these fighters is careful because of some issue like that, or not able to implement their original game plan, then there may be some, I'm not going to call it stalling, but trying to create more windows of opportunity can usually drag out a fight. And if one fighter is not pressuring because of it, and the other fighter is kind of defending because there's a possible injury or whatever, it could possibly go to decision. And we know these judges. I ain't trying to talk no shit, but they suck. Okay, I am talking shit. I was watching some highlights of the last UFC, and I guess there was some boxing referee on there, and like it looked like he had misrepresented the fight because he chose the other fighter to win, which he obviously did not, but it's because he was only scoring the fight with like stand-up strikes. He didn't really put anything else into it. Why is that happening? I still don't understand why these judges are chosen. I feel like we need more judges. It can't just be 3. I think there should be, 6 to a dozen. And that might be overkill, but I just feel like the more minds that you get applied to it, especially if there were minds that either had previous fight experiences, coaching, referee. I love the fact that Chris Lieben is now not just a referee, but he is also scoring fights, because that's exactly what the fuck we need. All right, that's all I want to say about that. Let's go, Alex. Let's go UFC 314 in Miami. I'm going to go ahead and draw this to a close. To all my regular viewers, the day takers, thank you very much. And to anybody that tuned in, because you saw this crazy thumbnail, that is me. I use a little AI in there to make it kind of, pop, if you will. But thank you for anyone who came and checked it out. Super excited for the fight. I have actually been thinking about purchasing this one and using the excuse of my birthday. And Alex is going to win because it's my birthday. I had my birthday already. It was on the 8th, but, I'm trying to use all the birthday luck that I possibly can. So, yeah, I might even buy this, y'all. We'll see. Have a little shindig in my house, a little Mexican food, a little fight. Let's go. All right, I'm going to get out of here. Day takers, I love you. It is the 10th of April. You know what I say. Take the day. Get in there. Spread your love. Share your knowledge. And I will see you on the flip side, on the morn of the morrow. All right, I'm going to try this one more time and try to do some outro music. For some reason, this always kind of messes up, but I'm going to try it. On your mark, get set, dictate the day. So weird. Let's go. Love you guys. Piece of chicken grease. Peace in the Middle East. I love you. Bye.